Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Justin and the Minifans. We're back after a little 2-week hiatus there. We had the Florence show a couple weekends ago where I fucked up, should have done the show. And then the YouTube got suspended for a week. So we're back. Lot to cover. Lots been going on. After I think one of the best weeks of the show's history. I know it's been a divisive week. A lot of people are saying, oh, they're mailing it in or whatever. I think this week was great. I think Friday's show is up there with Cullen, put it up there with the Hammer, put it up there against anything else. I think it's Kirk at his best. I am joined by Madawaska Rob, Eric from Super Lemon Haze, Tony, and Fez. How you guys doing?
What's up, guys?
Good.
Hello, everyone.
What's happening? So, I know Fez wanted to talk about the whole walk from a couple weeks ago. My fuck ups, all that fun stuff.
The lack of walking, you mean?
The lack of walking. The lack of recording, I think. It's not necessarily the walking.
Yeah, that's true.
The recording.
So we're talking about the walk with Steve, not your walk of shame.
I actually both, man. I'm
correct.
Yeah.
I want to know more about the after show now.
Oh, I mean,
That's way more intriguing, I think. Yeah.
Me
How
too.
far did you get? What made you
idea.
decide to quit? Like,
Justin, in all honesty, did you at any point leading up to the first walk, was there ever, you know what, maybe this isn't going to work out? Maybe I'm not a thoroughbred. I'm a Clydesdale, and I'm not going to make it. Was there any doubt in your mind that you were going to walk 88 miles that day?
Yeah, there was. And I like I said, I fucked up. I should have done it differently. I should have brought my car. I should have done a whole bunch of different shit.
Totally. So that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking, if Justin has any doubt, he's going to set something up at least midway, a quarter of the way, just to make sure that he's not going to be fucking stuck in the middle of nowhere trying to hitch a ride home.
Yeah. So after you, so you went to sleep. You hibernated, I guess, for 6 months. Yeah, and then you went to the show, and then we all heard what happened. So this is where it gets real grainy. I think Kirk was so mad that he didn't get into it. So did you just? So you I heard him say you just left the show and you just started walking. Now, was your phone dead when you started walking? And at any point did you know that Steve called?
Yeah. Was you just
fix
hitting
to find you?
End call.
Yeah.
No. So I was told to walk home, so I started walking. My phone was on very low percentage. I think it was on 3 or 4%. So I quickly checked my phone. I thought I was walking in the right direction. I wasn't. My phone ends up dying 15 minutes into it. I just started walking until I started freaking out. I saw a gas station. I think I was just walking around in circles for a long time.
this might be a dumb question, but why was your phone at 3%? Why didn't you charge your phone going to a live show? There might have been something to record. What's with the 3%?
The entire thing was being recorded.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't planning on walking home. I mean, it was just something that happened. I mean, so then, just things ended up the way they did.
So let me ask you a question.
I didn't know I was getting phone calls and stuff.
Okay, first question: when you went into the gas station, when you went to the hospital, you didn't have a mask, correct? Because your mask was
I
at the
bought
show.
a mask at the so I bought a mask earlier on at a gas station.
Okay, because you left, and I'm like, his mask is still here.
Yeah, it's a nice mask.
And his car keys, I believe, are still there, right? Or no?
I have no idea.
So Rob jumps to the mask idea. I'm still thinking this fucker goes in the wrong direction.
That's okay. I'll just give you a little 3-minute synopsis of what happened in my world here while this is going on. I'm at the VFW. The show's over. Kirk can call me a lingerer all he wants. I was just looking to have another beer. There was no fucking places open in the city. So at 9 o'clock, me and Sheldon are inside the VFW having drinks with Kat and a bunch of other people. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, Latino Kirk sends me a text message. Hey, are you still in Northampton? Yes, I am. Okay. Justin is lost. We can't find him. He is gone. His phone's off. Nothing. Can you please go check the train station? So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm out here. I got nothing to do. I'll jump in my car. I go to the train station. Went to the train station. No Justin. Went to the hospital. No Justin. Went to the police station. No Justin. Went to every KFC, every McDonald's, everything. No Justin. Then I decided I'm going to go back to the VFW and go 7 miles in every direction. Right?
How long was this? Was this hours?
I was out for about 2.5 hours. So
Holy shit. Justin, you fucking owe this man like
some gas money.
He needs help. But Justin, hold on a minute. What gas station were you at? What where was that?
It wasn't one that's around here.
I need to know. You went in the wrong direction. Is what I'm believed to be told, right?
I have no idea. I'm not familiar with Western Mass.
You don't know which way you walked?
Correct.
Well, how'd you tell the ambulance, or who called the ambulance to come get you if like you didn't know where you were? Just triangulate the cell phone. I thought it was dead.
The gas station did.
Who did you speak to? A clerk that called?
Yeah.
What was the brand of gas station?
I think it was like Pride or something.
Pride somewhere in Western Mass.
Correct.
Okay.
That's like a strip bar or something.
So Carano and Quantum Week Chris are also messaging me on Twitter. And Carano's like, I'm jumping in my car. I'm heading down there now. And I'm like, don't you fucking live in New Hampshire? That's like a fucking 3.5 hour drive. By the time you get here, the kid's going to be fucking dead of hypothermia or whatever the fuck. Insane asylum.
It was 50 degrees outside. It wasn't going to be dead of hypothermia.
Justin, I can attest that it was a little bit chillier than everybody's giving.
It was a little chilly.
Justin, where did the ambulance take you then?
The nipples are poking through a little.
I don't know, to the local hospital.
And then you just stayed overnight? Just checked in?
No, I charged my phone. I called someone to come pick me up.
If you're gonna have a ride, I thought you tried to call like an ambulance for Uber and get a ride home from an ambulance, because all of a sudden we heard that like you're in the hospital. So when you walked in the gas station, were they like, holy shit? Because I'll be honest, Justin, you said like you're walking for hours. You couldn't have walked in great shape. Like you must have been like, holy shit, like where the fuck am I? I'm tired. You must have looked like I think sometimes like you're big enough, you look like Bigfoot, right? So you're walking in there and they're like, did they call the police or did they call an ambulance?
They asked if I needed anything. I said, yeah, could I use your phone?
And
they said, oh, for what for? I said, I think I'm going to call an ambulance. And they said, okay, we'll call one for you. So
yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to make, I know you probably had like, if I was walking down the street and Steve from Providence was trying to hit me every couple miles, I would absolutely be nervous as well. And like, I know maybe you had a panic attack, whatever. You have to admit, it's a wild story that you just said.
It's wild that Rob was driving around for 2.5 hours, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing's crazy.
I'm just like, what other podcast would have me driving around looking for a producer who just got fired by them at the VFW in fucking Florence, Massachusetts? Like, what world is this? Like,
I don't know. I was doing a little research though on how many Pride stations there are in the Northampton area and how far they are from the VFW hall. Yeah, that was not a 2-hour walk, dude. No way. How long were you walking?
I have no idea. Like,
the closest one is legit like a 16-minute walk.
Okay, well, it was
obviously longer than that, but.
Yes, I have no idea where I'm not from. I've only gone there for the VFW.
But you understand the concept of time, though. Like, I understand you don't get where you are, but you must know how long you were walking. I know the difference.
Tony, that's what I was doing. Tony, I was trying to figure out how many miles he could walk per hour. And I'm like, all right, so he's walked probably about a mile an hour.
Right.
A mile and a half if you give him the thing or whatever. So that's why I'm like, all right, he's been gone for 3 hours. He's got to be 6 miles away. So let's just go 6 miles, 6 miles, 6 miles. But I just didn't equate to the fact that he was going to go the wrong way. That was my issue.
Wow.
Just my last two questions. Did the gas station attendant look like this guy?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, because that may have been the gas station. My second one is: do you blame Steve from Providence at all for this? Like Steve from Providence is a mix between Casey Anthony and Michelle Carter, right?
I don't know about that.
Yes, so hold on. So,
he's not that good looking.
Oh, that's true. So Will's had some problems. Kirk had some problems. Justin, you've had some problems. I mean, there's a commonality where Steve from is involved in all of this.
He's the mastermind.
He's like John Kevorkian. He's trying to get, he's the killer here.
No, I can't.
You ever see the movie The Human Centipede?
I completely fucked up on that. I mean, I don't know. I can't make it more clear that how much I fucked up on that whole thing.
No, but the other thing is, I don't understand why you didn't fuck up on it though. That's the thing. Like it was.
I did.
It was Steve. Didn't Steve say, "I told you to go home, Justin"? Like that's why
I think you're playing a little language game there. If Justin called and said, "I'm going home," and Steve said, "Okay," that's not permission. Yeah. Those are very separate articles there.
When I listened, Steve said, "Yeah, I didn't want to have him." 38 hours it took Michelle Carter to walk to the VFW. So So if he says he doesn't want to pay you, I mean, you're not going to do it for free.
Yeah.
Right?
I fucked up. I should have recorded it. I should have taken the initiative. The whole thing was mentioned on the Sunday show.
You know, as a manager in real life, I think Steve, as your boss, should have given you that instruction. I don't think knowing who you are, and Justin, I think you're a great guy, but knowing that you might not intuitively think,
great kid,
I should come back and tape all of this. I think Steve is completely at fault. He should have been the one who said, "Hey, go take an hour nap in your car and then come, or do anything, do something."
I disagree.
You guys are making me defend Steve here. That's crazy. It's clearly, Justin, I like you. No offense. That's obviously on you.
Right. I mean, the guy's focused on walking 89 miles. It's like running a marathon. You think you want to fucking talk to anybody or have anything to do with anybody else? No, get the fuck out of my face.
Well, Steve from Providence has no concern. Justin's not Steve from Providence's problem. Justin is Justin's problem.
No. I 100% agree. I'm talking about his boss, not Steve from Providence.
Oh, Steve Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson.
Steve Robinson, you're making it sound like he gave permission for him to stop. You're making me defend Steve here, but I don't think Steve ever gave him permission to stop.
Well, I mean, it sounded like he actually did. It felt like to me like he gave them the okay to like not walk, but he didn't say, but you should still tape. I feel like he needed to follow that up with that.
I fucked up. I mean, I'm not like the blame lies solely on me for this.
It was the most uncomfortable 5 minutes I think I've ever seen in my life. When I was sitting, very uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" I'm sitting next to Sheldon. I'm like, "Sheldon, he's gonna fire me. He's gonna fire him right there in front of everybody." And then he's just like, "Get the fuck out of here!" I looked at him. I'm like, "What in the fuck? He's just left. He's gone. He's gone. That's it. See you later."
Yeah.
So
that's that. Any other questions in regards to my giant fuck up that I'm never gonna ever live down? I'm sure I'll be answering questions about this in 2025.
So Justin, I sent a message on Twitter that I think is a relevant conversation around this subject because everybody remembers Mike, B. Michael Geary going after his white whale, taking down Mike Francesa on the prank call line.
Correct.
And Dave Portnoy, Dave Portnoy's hatred for Blind Mike is just irrational, absolutely irrational.
Totally.
But when that happened, and basically Portnoy was threatening to fire him again, Kirk said to Mike, you might want to look at other employment opportunities because your boss clearly has an itchy trigger finger. He's going to fire you eventually, Mike. Like, I don't know what you're going to do, but it's going to happen. So I got to ask you, Justin, the guy who said that to Blind Mike is the guy who keeps firing you. Are you worried that it's just a matter of time? Because, Jesus, it seems like no matter what you do, solution one is just get rid of this guy. He's Dave Portnoy Blind Miking you, where every time you fuck up, it's just like, why did we not fire this guy last time?
Yeah, I mean, it's stuck in the back of my head, but I'm not going to try to look towards other opportunities while I'm still here with the show.
But but the thing is too, Kirk's never fired anybody. As much as like Will's fucked up and anybody else, he's never really fired anybody.
No, I think Kirk is very capable of firing someone. I think
didn't Will get fired?
This is my daughter Stella.
Okay, that's it. This isn't sports.
I think Will quit.
See that guy right there in the top left-hand corner? He walked 7 miles in the wrong direction by like 6 o'clock at night.
7 is a very generous estimate.
That's the reason why I couldn't tuck you in bed.
All right,
okay.
Get out of here.
Okay, doke.
Sorry, it's
so I mean, like I had a conversation with Steve today. We're going to be talking more over the holidays once Thanksgiving's over about certain things. But no, I'm not going to be looking for another opportunity while I'm still here.
Are you worried that you are eventually going to get fired?
I mean, yes, of course. I mean, it's always in the back.
I mean, bad signals hiring, I heard.
Yeah. Sure, we'll go with that.
I offered the call. Yeah, fucking doing it.
But any other questions regarding that whole situation? Fez, you good? You got any questions?
I don't think so. I think I got them all in. Wild night. I mean, I wish I was there.
Yes, it was certainly something. That's for sure. So anything else? I'm sorry. Fuck, now I'm all flustered. You got me.
Justin, that's the first time I've seen you laugh. Laugh a little bit more. Big fights this week. I think the Friday show was incredible. I know it was 50 minutes long. I know people were upset that the show's going in a certain direction, that Kirk and Steve are saying it's going to be 3 days a week and that they don't like the phone calls and all this other bullshit. But what did you guys think of the Friday episode? I think it was like top 1 episode of all time. Do
you have knowledge that through? Okay, so I can't figure out because with Kirk he can do this very well, and you're just not sure. Is 3 days a week? Is that a real thing, or is he using that like to basically harangue the people that won't stop bitching?
I have no idea.
I honestly don't know. It sounds like he's using that as a weapon against people who won't stop whining.
Right. And
I have no reason to assume that Kirk is lying about this. I could see the show going to 3 days a week. And also, I don't think 3 days a week would necessarily be that bad. I mean, he was talking about it on Friday. He said, so you're going to get 3 days instead of 5.
Right.
And 2 hours, each show will probably be around 2 hours long.
Right.
So the people who are bitching that the show would go to 3 days a week are the same people who say they don't like the calls. I think that if you erase 2 of the days, that automatically means you take less calls because you have to cover Tuesday stuff on Wednesday's show. You have to cover Thursday stuff on Friday's show. And I just see it as a win-win for everyone if the show does end up going to 3 days. I don't think it's a bad thing if Kirk wants to take Tuesdays and Thursdays off to either work on this secret project or to just, do something else. I don't see why everyone is trying to make a big deal.
Does anybody have any idea what the secret project could be? I have no fucking
Not a clue.
idea. Nothing. He's talking about going to Brockton and interviewing this person and whatever the fuck. I have no idea.
So hopefully this isn't it, because if it is, I'm fucked. But all I know is that Fall River had a corrupt mayor. You can look him up. He had super young. He was
actually
younger than
he was
me.
24.
When he did this because the cannabis. He was taking bribes.
He was
something like
cannabis
that.
companies.
Yep.
So that's
then I know Brockton also has some. If I were to gun to my head, if I were to guess, it has to do something with corruption of local politicians. Yeah. But he said it has something to do with basements. So I looked up Brockton basement, and you can find a whole bunch of stores that redo your basements. And so maybe he's doing a review thing.
Business. He's an entertainer. What? He's gonna write something. He's gonna make a movie. It's got to be something entertainment wise. So that's my feeling. He's gonna report on something. I don't know.
But in Big Cat and there's other Barstool people involved in this secret project too, I believe, or is it just him? I don't know. I mean, he talks about talking to other people about it, but I don't know if they're actually involved in it. I don't know.
I have no idea. That's all I know about it is that Fall River had a corrupt mayor who was 20 years old a couple of years ago.
Big mafia town too. Huge mafia town.
Justin, I do want to say about the 3 day a week discussion. Kirk was obviously very upset about the idea that he owes people content. Mm-hmm. And I think that in a subscription based model, I think if this were a subscription service, the people griping about reducing days a week would have a point because they're paying, a certain premium. I think Sirius, when they signed Stern, people were bent out of shape when they found out it was 4 days a week. And then more people got upset when he announced he's going to 3 days a week. That analogy just doesn't really work here, though, because you're not paying a monthly premium to listen to this. You support the sponsors ideally, but if you just choose not to, you're getting this content for free. So the idea that he owes people something, right? It's just very, very, very I don't even know what you call it. I guess narcissistic. The notion that you owe me this.
I completely agree. I think it's ridiculous. It's like people getting upset that the last season of Game of Thrones was 6 episodes and not 10. It's what are you going to do? I mean,
I kicked my dog because of that. Yeah.
But I feel like the people that are complaining, the thing is he has diehard fans, and those diehard fans, similar to the Game of Thrones, they want it. They want more. They want to crave more. They want to consume as much content as they possibly can. So anyone taking that away from them, of course they're going to bitch because most likely they don't have much else going on in their lives, and this takes up a huge chunk of it. So they're just going to cry and bitch. I don't know. But
a good comparison I like to think is Jordan in the 90s. Jordan had to take, he was the best there ever was. But he had to take a year off, and people didn't bitch when he took a year off. They just said, hey, you know what? We're thankful for what you did these past 3 years. We understand you have to go deal with some shit. You're not going to be around as much.
Not to be a smart guy, but how old were you in the 90s when that happened?
It was -2.
Because I remember a lot of bitching around.
No, there was no bitching.
Okay. He's saying Kirk has a gambling problem and he's going away for a year to hide it. Is that what we're going with? Wow.
No.
So, Justin, you don't think that Kirk owes fans content?
No, I think he owes no one I think no one in this world owes anything to anyone.
You're not paying. That's just if you were paying for the content, you deserve it. HBO is not even a great analogy because at least you paid for those Game of Thrones episodes.
Right.
That iTunes is basically providing you this content for free. So
Fez, what do you think? You think he owes?
Yeah, of course. How is he going to make a living? So the way that I look at it,
he has interest vested in it. That's not the same as owing you.
Well, the same. He needs the fans to still support it. If he's not getting downloads, if he's not selling his merchandise, he's not going to be working at Barstool. He's not going to go subscription. So when he says, I don't owe anybody anything, all these Minifans can fuck off, I think that's where the disconnect comes from some of the Minifans. The diehards will always be there no matter what. Then you have the people on this cusp who are kind of listen to Kirk and say, I like him, but he's kind of a dick. They don't really, understand the show, those guys.
Do you believe him when he says he doesn't care if people listen or not? Do you believe him?
Yes.
I do.
Because it sounds like you don't. Okay.
I don't believe him at all. He definitely has to. He definitely has to have the fans. He doesn't.
He absolutely loves the fans. He listens to them, and that was the whole episode on Friday. And I actually think he listens to them too much. As an entertainer,
I agree.
You can't listen to your fans all the time. You're gonna go fucking crazy. I'm just not trying to obviously knock the mental health piece, but I think he takes them too much to heart. So
that's what but that's the problem. I don't understand why he can't just joke around with it. Kirk does his thing because he's great at it, and I do my thing to pay my mortgage. But it's one of those things where I'm not trying to be like him. So when he says, "Oh, my YouTube channel, these idiots on here," that's where I'm kind of like, "Well, who cares? Who cares what I say? I'm never going to be in his position."
Yeah.
So it's
I actually think that's why a subscription service for him might not ever work, only because of how much he cares. Because he's also one that will flip flop sometimes and go crazy on the fans. And if he loses 50% of his fans and subscriptions, when Portnoy is now sort of going through that drama with Sirius, how many Barstoolies, how many people were just cutting their subscription, right? If that happens to someone like Kirk, who's like a one-man show, that's going to kill his business and he's going to kill his career.
I think Kirk would be successful no matter what. And I think saying that he owes the fans because the fans are giving him revenue or giving him advertisers and stuff like that. He never said he's just going to up and stop doing the show. He's going to go to 3 days a week. He wants to not be so invested.
But Justin, I think that's good. 3 days, I think I listened to a couple shows looking for some sound early when Cullinan was on there, and it's a brighter show. It's happier. Even Mike seems happier. Now it seems a little dark. Maybe it is because Steve Robinson is kind of.
Well, we have been in you can take any week. You can take any week and say this seems dark. This was a angrier week. You take the after the Madawaska week. That was a very solemn week. That was a very awkward week where, Mike was thinking he was going to get fired every other sentence he says. But but I think if you look at it as a whole, the show really hasn't changed much. It's still what Kirk wants it to be. It's still a comedy podcast where he hits on topical events. He hits on parody songs and inside fighting and media hypocrisy and stuff like that.
Randomly on Wednesday, he decided, maybe he had the idea in the forefront, but in the middle of the show, he says, you know what, we're doing a Robinson report, and then we're doing a political show. And I would dare anybody else at Barstool to have that degree of versatility. Let's see Kate do a political show when she was lined up for her sports show. I don't think you're going to get that. So he's a unique talent. That's just my opinion. And you see
yeah. I also think
that is the model that other people would have to follow. I don't know that he does. I think there's going to be people that are going to follow him no matter what. So if he goes to 1 day a week, I think you're going to have that core group that'll still listen. And then you'll have that other group that is going to listen every single bit of content and spend the rest of the week bitching about how there's not more, or it's changed, or it used to be better, or whatever the previous condition was, that's going to be the new that was good. And then when we get to the next new thing, the thing before it will be the thing that was good.
But he shouldn't give a fuck about that. That's the whole bottom line is who cares? Fuck them. If people say like that, fuck it.
Well, it's a tough one. If you're saying he owes it to them, then he probably should care. I say he doesn't owe it to them. So you're right. He should say fuck it.
Yeah.
But I think we've been spoiled in the fact that we've been having 5 shows a week, 3 hour plus shows. We had a run where it was 4 3-hour shows, just constantly in a row. You look at other podcasts and not even necessarily at Barstool, but just look at other comedy podcasts that Mike listens to. You look at Come Town, hugely successful podcast. They put out 1 episode a week and it's an hour long. And when they get to the hour, they literally say, we're done.
Same shit. Call Her Daddy's number 1. I think the thing about Kirk is that it's not difficult for him to do 4-hour shows. He can do 4-hour talk shows every morning for 5 days a week times 10 years. So it's not unlike Kirk to be able to perform there. I don't think we're spoiled. I think it's what Kirk wants to do.
And that's not to nitpick either. When's the last 3-hour show?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't been getting groups of 3-hour shows for a while now.
Yeah.
I don't have the stats in front of me, but
I doubt it's in the last 6 months that we've had a 3-hour show. Maybe one.
Oh, we've had 3 hours.
Yeah, we've had 3-hour shows.
That's crazy.
It's tough.
There's been plenty of.
It's tough with 2 people. It's tough with 2 people too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 3 hours with 2 people is it's hard.
I don't think the shows. Not necessarily. This is coming to the next point, as the next show will be the return of Blind Mike, but I don't think the show's fallen off at all since Mike has left. I think Kirk can do a show where it's just him just farting into a mic, and it would just be incredible. I know I'm a suck pump or whatever.
See, like I am such a Steve guy. So like I find more Steve is like entertains the shit out of me because he's like I've said it before. He just fascinates me like no other human has ever fascinated me before. I consider myself intelligent about sports, entertainment, music, movies. He knows nothing about any of that stuff, like beyond nothing. But he knows everything there is to know about politics, everything there is to know about like science and like all these other weird shit. And bring it up because I know, Justin, you want to talk about the S.E. Robinson, the show, the Robinson Report episode. That more, it's just his mind. How like his mind works more different than anybody I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I know Fez, you have your issues with Steve, right? I mean, you don't. Are you a Steve? You're not a Steve fan.
I'm just sick. He's like in my DMs a lot, saying like some gross stuff. So that's my biggest problem.
He is.
Yeah.
Send him my way. I'll take some gross DMs from fucking Steve.
What's he saying?
What's he saying? What's gross?
Just really gross. Like I mean, I usually click off it, but I think I see some outlines of like junk. Some of his package, some dick pics, and I'm like, I'm good. Justin, did you say that you could listen to Kirk fart into a microphone?
Yes.
Okay.
And then eat the microphone. That's it.
I probably could. Yeah. I probably could give it a try, but I'm not sure.
So, Rob,
I think people listen to that show. They do an after show on YouTube talking about how good it was. So
yeah, I think
there is that group. They exist.
So Rob, I'm gonna talk about the S.E. Robinson report. I'm gonna disagree with you. I actually don't think that I could listen to Steve for a full episode. I'm a huge Howard Carr guy too. I'm a big talk show radio host. I mean, radio guy here too. So, and whenever Howie was out and he was like sort of taking the lead, I just turned it off, man. I turned the station.
It's so funny, like thinking about it back then, because like if you know him now, like if you think about it back then, because back then he was just Steve. So it's it's just like, who the fuck is this kid? Because you don't know how old he is, and you're like, wow, he knows this shit. But he's a little weird. He's a little off. You feel like he's a little off, like
The problem with Steve is he kind of gave the game away last week. He basically told you that like this Rush Limbaugh audio about the Rudy Giuliani evidence. He acknowledges that's a bunch of crap. People listening are getting duped. Rush doesn't believe it. So like I feel like Steve is doing a bit of a troll job. And this right wing radio and left wing radio, these extreme political radio shows, they know that what they're saying is kind of nonsense. And it's sort of like when Jerry's uncle called in as a different character and revealed that he was Jerry's uncle. It's like you took down the fourth wall there. What are you doing? Like now you know that things he's tweeting, those extreme conspiracy theories, that he doesn't believe them. He said he doesn't really believe them, but he's still tweeting them. So
now do you guys think that deep down in Steve's soul, would he rather be where Grace is than where he is right now?
No,
like
I think.
You don't
think
think so?
Both ends
I think so. I think there's a piece of him that his heart broke when Grace got that job. I think.
I don't think he wants to be under Howie Carr's thumb.
No,
I think if he could take the show independent and of the Cars, maybe.
Listen,
but in that context, I doubt it. He doesn't want to work for Howie anymore.
He was offered a 6-figure job at Barstool, which is the fucking, Barstool's trajectory is infinite right now.
Do you even think Steve knew who Barstool was?
RKO is a fucking dying job, a dying radio station. I'm out of radio. He took the fucking smart move, man. He got a job and he's doing a great job. He's a great producer. So even if Kirk decides he's gone, he will absolutely maintain a position with Barstool somewhere. So he made the right decision no matter what. And Grace's show is not going to last. She's also one of those number 2s. She can't be a number 1. I listen to her. I like her. She's hot. But her fucking her spiel, man.
That doesn't matter on the radio.
No,
I'm not going to pretend I have any idea.
It always matters a little. It always matters a little.
I've never heard Grace speak on anything. I'm not a political talk show guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Justin, I don't believe that. You seem like you're really dialed into politics. I just feel like you're really knowledgeable.
Just no farting in the microphones.
You guys,
I know a bit about politics. I try to keep the distance in this whole world though, because it's just fighting and stupid nonsense that's been going on. But it's I have no idea what Grace. I'm sure. It's like when your friend gets a promotion. You're kind of like, oh yeah, good for them, but you're also like, fuck, there's always a little piece of you that's like, damn, I kind of wish I was getting not necessarily that promotion, but a promotion or something like that. It's there's only one group of people that you truly want to succeed in this world. That's your kids, or so I've been told. I don't have kids, but
so they can make money for you. I just want my daughter to make money so that she can give it to me when she gets older.
You're a doctor. You're a lawyer. That's
the ultimate goal. No, you're a model. You're gonna take me to Fiji, take me to Hawaii, take me everywhere.
There we go. Rob's one of those damn moms who's sending his kids to.
I don't want to work. I don't want to work. I want to be their manager. That's it. I'll fucking manage them.
Actually, I want to bring something up that happened on Friday's show too that I'm actually really interested in knowing more about. But why the fuck, Justin, were the Mintel Intel people back on air after they did this whole fucking they waved the flag? We're fucking out of here. They got into the rocket ship. They blew off into outer space. They said, we're with Will and Nobody. And then Monday, I was surprised. And I like those guys. Those guys are fun for me.
I have no idea why they decided to come
Why the fuck are they on?
Seeing what happened today, I think I had a little bit of an inkling as to why they wanted to come back. They might have wanted to get promotion for a certain podcast. But it's, I have no idea. They just, John messaged me on Friday or Thursday and said, hey, is there a spot open tonight? We want to get the band back together.
Why do you think Kirk won't just ban them? They seem to drive him completely insane, especially BA. There's others too. Whatever, they're harmless. Their show's kind of boring, but why does he keep letting him on if it drives him so insane? Because it obviously does. Clearly, they get under his skin very effectively for whatever reason.
I think is the only. I know the reason. The reason is the fact is that people comment like BA, who I love, who I like everybody. So I'm not the person to criticize, but he doesn't. It drives Kirk crazy when someone criticizes a show that they don't watch. You can't admit that you don't watch the show and then have critical points on it. It's like Gary Tanguay used to drive Kirk crazy when he'd come in and he'd have all these opinions about all these articles and these columns and stuff. And then Kirk would say, "Did you read it?" And he'd say, "No, I didn't read it." Well, then what the fuck are you commenting on it for? If you don't know what you're talking about or you have no factual knowledge of it, then don't have an opinion. You can't have an opinion on something you don't know. It's just not right.
I completely agree. And I think Kirk's main thing is he said in the past, he'll have anyone on his show. When people say oh, would you have Richard Spencer on your show? Or would you have this? He goes, yeah. And then what you do is you pick apart their argument and you make them look stupid. You don't make them into some martyr where it's they've been kicked off or so they can go. So certain people can go and say oh, we got kicked off because we had the wrong opinion of the Kirk Minahan network. So I think, letting people on and then just dissecting why they're completely wrong about what they are is kind of the better way to go about it than just saying, I don't want to deal with this anymore. They're just kicked off.
I will say shouting about it for 50 minutes on a Friday is a much better formula than just quietly saying they can never go on again on a Saturday morning. Because I think if you quietly say, well, they're done, it's kind of like Entercom kind of just trying to kick Kirk off in the same sense of, okay, well, now it's really getting to, now Kirk was really pissing Entercom off. So I don't think it's to the level that I believe Tony was saying or maybe it was Fez, of BA and all these other people getting under Kirk's skin. I don't think Kirk loses sleep at night because of it. But I think the way to go about it is to, play clips and I don't think anyone said he loses sleep. I think we said it annoys him. And they clearly annoy him, Justin. Every time they do a show,
I don't think it's
something they said.
He needs to be I just need them off the channel. It's he has one rule, and that's now if you are on the channel, you need to listen to the show because you can't just have
first and last name, where you work, where you live. I think are also in his new rules.
Right, yeah. Robert,
those guys quit. Those guys should have stood by what they said because I actually respected that. And the fact that they were back on with episode 1, I was like, that's fucking weak, man. Because to me, that was they should have just fucking done their own thing, get their fucking sponsorship, whatever they were promoting online, but not come back. Come back made no sense to me whatsoever. And before I do have to go though, but Justin, I want to say there's no way that this episode on Friday is at number 1. It's not a top 5. It was a great episode of Kirk and the back and forth and the intensity, but like the Cullen is like at a level.
I agree. It could be recency bias.
Right. I'm an Elias guy. Elias is my favorite episode. Whenever they found out Steve was lying about Elias, that's a
great episode too.
I almost drove my car off the road honestly when I was driving. It was fun.
That was a good one.
That one where they called everybody where Steve had to keep calling people and asking about recording audio. That was my favorite. That was
thank you. Thanks for coming on, Eric.
Thanks, guys. Sorry, I got to go.
Buddy.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Do you have access to the show account?
Do I have access to? Yes.
Yeah. So my problem is like the blocking that's going on back and forth. Like, why is there so much blocking going on if it's not, I guess the show account's blocking people, Kirk's blocking people. So if it's not really aggravating him or annoying him, why is he blocking people? He never used to block people.
I mean, sometimes it's just easier. Like I'm not blocking anyone, but I'm not. I don't know if you're. I don't think you're asking me this, but there's no chance I will ever go into the show account and unblock people.
Oh yeah, do you block people? Like, are they saying, "Hey, Justin, block me"?
No, I've not blocked anyone. I mean, that's kind of above me. If Kirk or Steve wants to block someone, I mean, that's up to them. I'm not going to sit there and say and try to tell them that they can't be blocking someone, especially someone who they.
No, I understand that, Justin. But I know guys I know BA got blocked. I know Menners got blocked. And to be truthful, Menners is going through a tough time right now. He's recently going through a divorce, so I hope everyone out there can wish him well. His wife found some pretty provocative DMs, so. Manners, God bless you. But my issue is like when you start blocking.
For real.
Why would God bless him if he was doing that?
Because I just feel bad. I mean, he has a family. He's getting a divorce. I mean,
he shouldn't have been around.
Hey, he found a guy that he really liked, and now the rest is history. So, but my problem is when you're blocking people, it kind of just shows that it's really pissing you off, and then you go on the show and say, "Well, I'm only joking," but you have half the show. A lot of people block. My motto is I'm not blocking, even if you block me. But if you start like taking screen grabs, because you can see, when you block someone, you can still see their timeline. Or if you start taking screen grabs, then that's when I block you. And that was a VD move. Visualist Dave taught me that move. But so my question to you guys is like, what do you guys think about the blocking?
I have no problem with it. I mean, it's Kirk's show. If he feels like he does not want certain people following the show, I mean, that's engaging. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know exactly what offense, and I don't think that they owe us an explanation, but I don't know what offense got BA or got Menners blocked. I know some people that have been blocked, like Blind Mike Sneakers. When if you're just going to be a harasser and a troll, then you can't be surprised when you get blocked. I mean,
let's say like in a bigger I think everyone can agree like Zonker when he was just. Every single tweet, you would be like, "Hey," he'd be like, "Hey, so here's a link to something that was taken out of context." Like, okay, well, I don't want this person.
See, but Zonker might be different because Zonker was actively trying to get the show off. I don't know that BA or Menners or any of them were ever trying to get the show gone. Even Blind Mike Sneakers, when he was talking about the Wilbur refunds or whatever, I don't think any of that was trying to get the show canceled. So, I mean, but if all it is just harassment and trolling and carrying on and complaining about the same, you could write a script about what those people are going to complain about. So you can't be super shocked when you get blocked if that's all you ever contribute.
Right. I completely agree. Like I said, I have no problem with people. Like I've blocked a couple people from like my personal. I think I have a couple people blocked from my show account, but my personal account that I really don't use anymore.
I thought you said you didn't block anyone from your show account.
No, I'm saying from the show account, from like my account.
Show account.
I have a couple people blocked. But I think blocking is a great way just to kind of, hey, if something's a negative in your life, especially in the internet world, it's just why don't you just nope, no more. Yeah. I think it's powerful and just that it's that easy.
Yeah.
See, it's tough to relate when you're just kind of a civilian because I don't really have anybody blocked, but I also don't have like people actively trying to undermine my well-being and go after my employer. Like, I mean, going after sponsors is effectively going after people who are in his employ. So if I had that, I would probably be blocking people like crazy. So I see where he's coming from. I really do. If people don't want to get blocked, there's no self-reflection in the idea that maybe I could stop the behavior that got me blocked.
And people like getting blocked too, because then they become martyrs and stuff like that. So,
just I got one last question. The barbecue. What is up with it?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
The barbecue. I mean, I saw you got a new deck. I mean, what's going on? I know the COVID thing, but tell me that it's not off.
I do. I mean, real quick. I mean, like it's illegal in Massachusetts to have like.
Just say it's off, and we can move on, Justin. You know it's off. Just own it. Just own it.
Nope.
It will happen eventually.
Okay.
But
before or after the Wilbur show?
Time. Wait for Biden to come in and magically make the coronavirus disappear.
Are you saying before or after Wilbur show? Kirk is now saying 2021 doesn't look good for Wilbur show. So are you saying 2022?
It's probably going to be after the Wilbur show.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And then Justin, I talked about it up in the VFW. I can't see any way that we still have the Madawaska show in February.
I have no idea about that.
I just don't see it. Like I hope they do. I still have my room booked. I'm not canceling until they tell me it's canceled, but I just don't see it. But I want before we go, we got to talk about Mike. Big episode coming.
I know that's right. Yeah, Mike's coming back on Monday.
I can't wait. I can't.
Like I said, I don't think the show skipped a beat, but obviously I miss Mike. I think Mike's a great personality. I think he adds a lot to the show. I think having the third chair that Kirk can kind of pick on and be the punching bag is a great thing, and it just makes the show what it is. I'm excited. Let's
forecast the show. So how long before they start taking calls? Is it going to be just one of those like, all right, Mike, well, you're back. Let's open up the phone lines and let's see what happens. And then just everybody. I
think it'd be funny. I think it'd be funny if they just didn't even acknowledge. If they were just like, hey, so like they just tried to like Mike comes in thinking it's going to be like a hat. So what's your band? And Kirk's like, well, let's get going.
I desperately want them to blindside him with stand-up comedy.
Kirk come in full fencing outfits and just do the whole show in fencing uniforms. That'd be fucking good. That'd be fucking great.
Or better yet, let's get a fencing demonstration going on later today, man. Justin, would you fence with blind Mike? Because I know you probably don't know how to fence, but I mean the guy's blind, Justin. Would you fence with him?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I
also have like little tips on the sword, so there's no fucking sword.
They're not gonna kill you.
Yeah, I'd fence with blind Mike. If he's,
Justin, is it bittersweet for you though? Like, I mean, be honest. Like, so he left. You kind of came in. You took a spot. You kind of stomped on his grave. You shit on his grave. You pissed on him. So are you kind? Yeah. I mean, you were in my DM saying that. So do you think? Is it a little bit kind of bittersweet? Like, I mean, you're kind of moving along with the
I don't
show.
think there is anyone who is looking forward to Mike coming back more than me.
You want the spotlight off?
No, not necessarily that. I have a great connection with Mike. I think me and him work well together. And I think me and him also are in two very separate categories of what we should be and are doing for the show. I think, like Kirk has said a million times, I'm not an on-air guy. I've never been in studio. I've never been an on-air person. It's funny. Mike, like I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, and he'd be like, "Oh, so you're coming into the studio every day?" And I'm like, "Nope." And he's like, "Oh, you should." And I was like, Kirk does not want that. And he goes, and me, like Mike is still does not really understand what my role is. I'm not really I'm still trying to figure out what my permanent role is, what a long-term solution would be. But yeah, I don't. There's no one looking forward to Mike coming back. I mean, also granted, he's only coming back for this week because the school he's going to is off Thanksgiving week, so he'll be in. I think they're only doing Monday and Tuesday next week. I could be wrong. But yeah, so I think it's only these 2 days.
Do you want to be on the air though, Justin?
I just want to help the show. So I like what you said. Is there any resentment towards Mike? Yeah. Absolutely not. There's none. I could not be happier for Mike. I mean, I talked to him. I would say I'm friends with him. I can't wait for him to come back. I think he's funny. I think it's going to be great.
I think Mike coming back puts you to number 2 on the hit list again. So it's a little bit of job security for you if Mike is here, because at the very least, you're not getting fired first by Portnoy. So that's one more person in front of you. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't think Portnoy knows I exist. It's
probably. I mean, is Barstool paying? Are you a Barstool employee officially?
I am.
Because they said that Steve had to do a review of your job performance. I'm sure you're due for a raise any day now. But I was just wondering, because do you know any of the Barstool leadership, like Erica or Dave or anyone? Do they know you exist, or are you just like another?
No, I've emailed back and forth. When I was like filling out my paperwork with one of the HR people, I forget her name, but That's
I'm
pretty much
sure they're just as good at their job as the fucking sales team is. I can predict that.
So,
they're probably as good as their job as BW Colin is at fucking making content, Fez. That's right.
I have no idea what any of that means.
Oh God, you don't know BW?
I don't know BW. Isn't that Arthur's sister?
You don't fucking want to know him. Trust me. It's terrible. Fez opened up my eyes to this drip and a half, and I fucking want to punch him every day. Terrible.
So, anything else you guys want to mention? Anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, we kind of covered, the state of the show. I think the show has been incredible. I know some people. I feel like thinking you're owed something from a podcast is just kind of ridiculous.
Hey, Justin, there's one thing I'd like to talk about a little bit that I've heard a lot of people complain about that I don't think is accurate. So the claim that the show is turning into like a Rush Limbaugh type right-wing sort of pro-Trump, outlet. I think, the reason for that, and I did allude a little bit when I said that Robinson is kind of pretending when he does these extreme sort of monologues. I think a lot of it is you get Steve doing the hardcore conservative presentation, and one of two reactions. Like Mike usually doesn't know what's going on, even if he is there, but Kirk is usually bored with it, doesn't want to engage, is completely disinterested in his nonsense. So I think people are saying that because there's never any other side presented. 1 in every 100, Kirk will just completely shut him down with some deep logic flaw in his argument. But usually he just doesn't engage with him because, frankly, that is kind of boring, that sort of hardcore conservative radio. So I don't think it's necessarily that the show is leaning that way. I think it's just Steve leans that way, and he's really the only one talking genuine political issues. So that might be where the interpretation is coming from, because there's not like a liberal voice that's the offset of the Steve who just sort of goes crazy with his, kind of nut job conspiracy stuff. Yeah,
I agree. But I also think that it's, I think when Steve kind of goes into conservative mode and, kind of gets into the Robinson Report, he's also he's kind of like half-heartedly playing a character. Like when he, like on Wednesday's show, when he was talking about the Robinson Report, he's kind of like, how Colbert was playing a conservative? Well, Steve is kind of playing the Colbert character, but he kind of believes it, which kind of makes it like a little bit funny. Because, he'll be talking about how, the election was stolen from Trump or something like that. And I mean, it's a one-man show, but it's been a two-man show these past couple months. So, I mean, you don't have the opposite of Steve. So some people hear Steve talking about certain things, but I guess the counterpoint to that would be, unless Kirk is going to bring on a third voice, that is a political guy, do you really want like what Jerry Callahan is doing, where he'll roll out Alex Reamer, who's completely uninformed and total dolt, and just slap him around with his conservative nonsense. And that's equally boring. So and if Steve stopped bringing the political stuff, he wouldn't be Steve. So you lose that whole element. So people are just looking for shit to complain about. I
think that brings the entertainment too, Tony. Like I feel like when Steve starts going off and Kirk gives the usual Kirk gives the usual all right, Steve. Okay, we get it. Okay, Steve. Okay, thanks. Like I laugh every fucking time he does it because Kirk knows that it's to him it's entertainment. I mean, this is entertainment. I mean, Steve, like Justin, you said he half believes most of the stuff he says, but he's also over exaggerating it too, so that Kirk can play off it. I mean, and they do it so well.
And it gets a lot of reaction on Twitter too. I think he's not blind to the fact that people will freak out when he says this stuff, and that's good. You get fan engagement. I understand the rationale.
One of my favorite things Steve does is when they'll be talking about murdering a dog or something like that. He'll just be like, "You can't murder a dog," and like it's just such like a throwaway line. But then he'll be like, Kirk will be like, "What do you mean?" Like, yeah, you just kill a dog. It's like, you can kill a dog, can't murder a dog. It needs to be a human in order for it to murder. It's just like one of those things where Steve has this conviction that he's just so stuck to.
And that's an old conservative trope. You wheel that stuff out. You start breaking down the technicality of language when you feel like you're kind of on the backside of an argument or losing.
Yeah, both sides do that.
That's an opportunity. Well, it's much more conservative than liberal, where you correct someone because that way you're right about this. So if I'm right about this, maybe I'm right about other stuff.
You don't think the left ever corrects anyone's speech?
Yeah, of course they do. I mean, I'm just saying, if you look at the way that Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity or anybody on OANN that does those presentations, they will laser focus in on the one single thing that was said maybe a little incorrectly and just glom. And the left doesn't really do that. A lot of times they're just crying into each other's, arms, and it's
kind
also
of
terrible.
like it's a not necessarily in a political sense, but kind of like with Portnoy. If you fuck up, like if you stumble with Portnoy, what was it,
You
the
just said it
MHB
with
call?
Parcells.
Yeah, exactly. The
said it with
MHB call
Parcells.
is like where it's like you're done.
Yeah.
But no, I don't listen to Rush. I thought Rush Limbaugh was dead. Honestly, I was so surprised when he got like that presidential Medal of Freedom. I have no idea who any of these people are.
Oh, it's a good way to go, man. Just keep it up like that because you don't want to be involved in that shit anymore.
Anything else you guys want to bring up? Fez, you got any other lasting questions?
No, all right. Thank you for letting me film here in your basement. I appreciate it.
I got mine too, Fez. Look at good fucking.
You look like you're about to get tortured by a Bond villain.
You know what? After this, I got to go up and put the girls to bed. So I'd rather get tortured by a Bond villain.
Thank you guys for joining me today. Thank everyone for watching.
All right, Pete, Tommy.
I will see you